All right, it's the day after Christmas. I hope everyone had a great holiday. I did as well. It's a great day. How about football all day on Christmas? I loved it. I know that I saw on people posting, getting mad about Christmas football. I loved it. I had it on with my family, the nieces, my brother-in-law. It's a nice background, and hope all of you had a great day. And whatever you do today, hitting the stores. We bring you Red Sox Now, presented by Fan Arch. I'm Mike Antonellis. You can follow me on my social channels at the Radio Mike. We always have people in here for first time. So that's on X and TikTok. And we keep adding more and more Discord. Discord's a chat service for those that don't know. You can email me for the link because YouTube hates links. So it's antonellis.michael@gmail. I'll send you the link. We have a general chat. We have a Red Sox chat. We have, even TV shows and movies, gaming, betting. That way we can get in and, talk a little bit about whatever you want to talk about. You get to know all of you better, but it's been pretty cool. So hopefully all of you are doing great and had a safe holiday. And we have another one coming up next week. This is great. Jeff Passan, in an ESPN MLB Insider, answers a fan's question about Jarren Duran. And this is already getting, I knew this would happen. It's going to get more ridiculous. The Red Sox are already getting some criticism for a lot of people. So Jeff Passan is telling everyone, and I don't know if this is 1,000% true. It's what he's getting from other executives, and they're not going to tell him everything. You can't. That the Red Sox are really telling other teams they want a number 2 starter for Duran. Now, I don't agree with. I've said many times in this program, you can't just trade Duran, and that could be. The story's probably not completely finished. I highly doubt Breslow is just saying Duran for Joe Ryan. I mean, he's not going to do that. And if he did, that's crazy. I love Jarren Duran, and I know a lot of you that really, really love him probably think he's worth Paul Skeens, because some of you that like Duran you're a little unrealistic at times with him. He's not worth a top of the rotation guy in a 1-for-1 swap. That is insane. I don't care how good he is. You're seeing what just number 3, 4 starters cost you. Now, that's maybe not big league guys, but you're giving up 5 to 6 pieces. It would have to be Duran plus, and I think we all know that. But here's where I stand on this. You should want your executive to negotiate. This is going to come across as Breslow being unrealistic. Players are unrealistic. He was a player. They asked for contracts that are unrealistic. So what? Now, there is a so what to not to contradict myself a little bit. You don't want to become one of those executives where you're being ridiculous. It's Duran for Joe Ryan and a story. And I don't think that that's how Breslow is going to operate. But if it's Duran, and that's what that's all they want in return, like Duran plus prospects for that number 2, they should do that. You should want your executive playing hardball with other teams. But this is going to come across today, and it's going to be a story that they're being difficult, and that I've already seen the comments. Yeah, they'll stay put. That's what they're telling teams. Teams are calling them, and Passan has talked about this. A lot of people are inquiring about their outfielders. So they should. I have nothing wrong with this, doing that. Of course, it has to be tactful. It can't be, ridiculous. Duran for Skeens. And he talked about, in the ESPN MLB Insider, answering fans' questions, that it's Duran and Abreu. But we'll see. So, like players negotiate, and they're holding out, and they want it, a front office should do the same thing. Mike Hazen is doing the same thing with Ketel Marte. They don't have to trade him, and they're being unrealistic too. They want, I mean, I've read some stories that they're looking for 2 to 3 big league pitchers. You talk about unrealistic, right? Like, how in the world would anyone be able to do that? Like, would you trade if you were the Red Sox? Like, Bayo, Connolly early, and who would be another big? I don't know, and another big league pitcher for an infielder. I know he's great. I don't. I'm not sure I'm doing that. But this is great. How this was a fan question that turned into this, and I know it's got people up in arms. One of the great many storylines, sagas. This is really like a drawn out Hollywood offseason because you have the Bregman stuff, which I think is affected by Okamoto, right? Obviously, I was talking to my dad about this last night because his ending period is January 4th. So there's no way Bregman signed him before there. I had somebody sent me a message and said, "Do you really think Boris didn't let," saying that maybe I'm being a little like hocus pocus, or that Boris really wouldn't have let Bregman sign before Alonso? Yes. Yes, he does things like all agents should do that. They have to. If Bregman signed before Alonso and got 5 at, say, the same, he is a, I don't care what the home runs and all of that. In the market value, Bregman plays a position of importance. Alonso doesn't. It's just a fact. If Bregman got 5/150, Alonso's probably not getting 5/150. So with Schwarber and Alonso's signing, Alonso's Boris, Schwarber's not. And now with Okamoto in the mix, they're waiting. And this shouldn't surprise anyone what happened last year, but if he doesn't sign by January 4th, he's out. And the Pirates are rumored. And I love Ben Cherington. Ben is one that broke my heart when he was fired because Ben, and I know Ben personally, he was the farm director my first 2 to 3 years, maybe longer, when I got to Portland. And I had a lot of communications with Ben Cherington. And when he got the big league GM, I knew his vision. I knew he's a lot like the guys now, back then. And he put his foot down on trading prospects at the time. Ben took a lot of crap from fans and media because he put his foot down on guys like Mookie Betts, who we refused to trade at the deadline the year prior. Put his foot down on a lot of guys that fans were not happy with. Ben's the one that said, we're moving Mookie to center. He's going to be in the big leagues in 14 like that. He's kind of the first that pushed guys quickly. And the Pirates now are spending money. And I'm not surprised that Ben's making good moves because there's only so much he can do. I mean, he's gotten a lot of heat out there, but I think their owner realizes he's got a good executive. Let me give him some money. And they're doing some good things. And now they're in the mix for Okamoto. Who would have thought? And would the Red Sox be in the mix for that? We don't know what the big divide is. I've heard some rumors, I think it's been out there that there is some of the front office for Bregman, against Bregman. I know for a fact Cora is Team Bregman 1,000%, and as am I. But this is going to obviously be something that we'll have to wait out. So there's no way, if Okamoto's not signed by the 4th, he's back to Japan. So I don't see a Bregman move until after. And this could drag all the way to February. It really could. There's no hurry for this. As long as he's there in spring training and we see guys even sign late. But this is going to be interesting. So you got this sidebar that affects everybody. Same with the relief market. I thought this was intriguing. I just took a look at it today to see what free agents, and this is why we see there are so many free agent relievers every single year, and they just keep, it's everywhere. where guys are good 1 year. Brad Keller. I mean, we love Brad Keller in Worcester. We loved him. And he got a little bit of opportunity with the Red Sox. Didn't go well, and then he's gone, and then he's a star. But this happens all the time. And you just look at some of the names. We know that Justin Wilson is a free agent. Jose Leclerc, like that's a guy right there that he gets a 1-year flyer from someone. But here's a couple names that I really liked. I do like Tommy Kahnle. I've always liked him. I've liked Kendall Graveman too. These are older guys, but these are all 1-year flyers. Personally, because he was in Portland when I was there, Ryan Presley's always been one of my favorites. He's 37. I don't know if they would take a flyer on him. But here's a guy I think the Red Sox would take a flyer on, is Michael Kopech. He's a free agent. I know he was hurt last year. But the Red Sox have a lot of player development personnel that have never been let go. This is one little, there's a lot of answers to questions that all of you can seek without being in my shoes. I'm behind the scenes, of course, working in the minor leagues and knowing things. But through all the different executives, Ben Crockett, who is now vice president, he's even higher than overseeing the minor leagues. He has survived every different executive. When Dave Dombrowski came in here, this happens. People get fired. He brings in his own people. Dave didn't get rid of anybody in the front office. He couldn't believe he had looked at everything. I remember asking him this question. He came to Portland a bunch of times. I said, what do you do when, how do you know when you get a new job, like what areas to improve? And he just said, you take a look, you read and you look at everything. And he said, this organization, the way they run their minor leagues, is the best in the game. And when Dave left, Heim didn't really make any moves. So like all the people like are in charge of making decisions in the minor leagues. Brian Abraham, he's another one. He has been there forever. A lot of the minor league player development staff, trainers, they have stayed in there. So they are familiar with someone like Michael Kopech, who's a former Red Sox farmhand. But with relievers, just looking at this list, and I think all of you should, you just Google it. It's on MLB, and there are some guys on there that are going to sign with someone in teams. Whoever your favorite team is, you're going to say, why didn't we get that guy? Because there's some intriguing names that if you gave a 1-year deal to. And I like looking at this. Evan Phillips is another one. I know he's been linked to the Red Sox. He was hurt all last year. And that's a guy that the Dodgers picked up off the street and turned him into an unbelievable. We poke fun at teams who pick up free agents. He was off the street, and they turned him into their closer. So even a team that spends the money they do, they recreated Evan Phillips. He was with Tampa. They DFA'd him in 21, and then in 22, Phillips had a 1.14 ERA, a guy off the street, and he was hurt last year. So it'll be interesting to see, but there is plenty of avenues for the Red Sox and other teams, because internally, does David Samlin get a chance to be on that big league roster in the bullpen? I don't know. Probably not, because of the way last year ended. You already got the Chapman, Whitlock, Slayton, Weisert's probably be in there. And if you sign Justin Wilson, and that's just 5 off the top of my head, you might not have to do a lot. And everyone's kind of waiting. The relievers get no love. All right, let's get to your comments. By the way, some of you on the comments yesterday was a Christmas show. We were talking about presents about players. It wasn't made to be serious. Some of you are giving me grief about the Skeens. It was a Christmas show. It was what if we could get one big Santa present. It wasn't real. We were having fun. Just wanted to clear that up. At Croc317, honestly, my present would be totally turning into Crochet 2.0 this season. Wasn't expecting a vid today. Working hard, sir. You got it for you. My great buddy and a colleague, Cooper Boardman. Cooper does some Red Sox games. He's on the pregame show, one of our broadcasters. Cooper is the one that said this, and I've stolen it from Cooper, that that totally could be Crochet. That's the next, because of the way Crochet looked right away. And I agree with Cooper 100%. And he'll start with Worcester. And again, perspective. First year as a professional, got to the big leagues and competed. The fact that he even got to the big leagues, I wasn't expecting him to even be able to compete right away. Until I saw that last start in Worcester, and I was like, okay, he can probably go up there. But the fact that he went up there and dominated right away in that Pirates start it's just not normal. At Tommy Habs Myers, but I think it's going to be the norm going forward with these guys. I have to go Skeens, Crochet from the left side, and Skeens. You meant Scooble, and Skeens for Holy Hamburgers, Merry Christmas. Yep. At 1950, Chimera, the Red Sox won't spring for Bichette if they are truly not intending to reel in Bregman. They aren't about to spend what it would take to sign Bichette. That's not true about Bregman. There hasn't been any report on that. And it took a while last year, as we know. Bichette's got no market right now. I mean, the fact that the Blue Jays don't want him back. There hasn't been any whispers that they want him. The problem with him is defense. And the way that these organizations, and it's all of them, they are more analytical and they are more calculated on how they give out deals. And if you question if the guy can play a position, I can see where teams don't want to go, because he's looking 7 to 8 years. You're giving 8 years to a second baseman if that's the case. If he's a Gold Glove shortstop, he's probably already signed. I love Bichette, but I get the front office question about it. I don't like the plan of bringing him in and putting Meyer third. I think that's crazy. I really do. Sorry if that offends people. But you're putting all of your eggs in Marcelo Meyer third. And then if he gets hurt, and you can counter that, well, anyone can get, sure, but he's been hurt every year. I'm not ready to hand him third base. Then what do you do if he gets hurt? What is your backup plan? You can't do that. Now, if Bichette can play third, I would do that over Meyer. Because then if Bichette got hurt, you can move Meyer. But I would not go into a season with essentially one third baseman. That's what you have to think about. I don't care how good defense he is. Even if he's projected to be really good, I don't want to see that again. We already saw that years ago with Middlebrooks and Giacchini. They both got hurt. The Red Sox got poke fun at for giving Sandoval all that money. They had no choice. They had no leverage. They had no third. They literally had nobody to play third. I didn't think they should have done that. They got suckered into that deal from the agent. I would have done some kind of stopgap, but that I wouldn't have done. That was reckless spending, a horrible contract. But you have to think about that. If you don't bring Bregman back and you want Meyer to play third, there's no one else that can play there. And I just think that is playing Russian roulette with that position is crazy. All right, that will do it for the week. We are done. Monday through Friday. We went hard this week. We had almost 4,000 views yesterday for our Christmas show. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit the subscribe on the way out. And thank you for watching Red Sox Now, presented by FanArch. As always, go Sox.